on this week's UBC From Here, improving life on campus through campus clubs.
I think that being a part of a club really gives you a more well-rounded university experience. I know our club is kind of a small community within the larger university community.
A leader in global marketing collaborates with UBC academics.
I work with a lot of different people in a lot of different places on a lot of different projects, and they're happy marriages. We're just finding what works for both of us.
And UBC Okanagan in the headlines.
We had a lot of news this year. I think overall we had nearly 1,000 stories out in the media,
Oh, wow.
both in print, radio, and on TV as well.
Welcome to this week's UBC From Here. I'm Carly, a fourth-year psychology student on the UBC Okanagan campus. There are hundreds of campus clubs on the UBC Okanagan campus, and many more forming each year. These clubs play a pivotal role in building and fostering a strong campus community.
So the reason I think that clubs and course unions are absolutely vital to student life is I think that our university is at an interesting crossroads in its growth, where a lot of the physical growth of campus has been done for the time being. We're still a growing school that's kind of trying to create its own identity. We have a number of challenges, things like limited access by bus or public transit to the campus. Our campus is remote, and so what happens I think is that our students, when they leave campus, they spread out all over the city, and that doesn't allow for a strong student community.
As a student, to be involved in a club comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility.
Our club really strives to give students another outlet, some extracurricular activities. Our kind of club mandate is the promotion of non-motorized outdoor activities. So that can kind of range from rock climbing, skiing, hiking, mountain biking. And we just really want to introduce people to a lot of these different activities and then, develop our own interest in them.
The Earth and Environmental Science Course Union is based around organizing events that are both social and academic.
My job is basically to oversee and facilitate the success of our clubs on campus. Clubs are a part of the student union. They're certainly an important part. The relationship between the student union and clubs, we try to keep it as separate as possible because we know that our students have their own great ideas, and we want them to be able to explore those to their fullest and not limit them.
I think that being a part of a club really gives you a more well-rounded university experience. I know our club is kind of a small community within the larger university community.
I think it's important to have course unions to build a healthy student community. We get students out there when normally they might not have things to do, and we also provide them with a lot of information that might be important to their careers.
There was a complete overhaul of the club policy this year from start to finish. It began with concern about the policies for clubs regarding their funding. Really what's happened is that our clubs have steadily been growing, and now we have clubs that are running international conferences or going to international conferences, or their membership is exceeding kind of like 300, 400 students, and they've really become capable of so much more than their original funding policy was.
And action.
I have made very many new friends since I've started this new club. It's wonderful to see the interest that's present in this campus, and it's nice to see that I can contribute something to the campus that it didn't already have before.
That's a wrap.
York University professor Russell Belk is renowned for his research into marketing trends around the world. He is currently working with 2 Faculty of Management professors.
The market is huge. We're talking about trillions of dollars, and we're talking about the largest companies in the world moving from one part of the world to the other, establishing themselves. We're looking at luxury fashion brands in the Indian context, and we're looking at from the point of view of the producers, the distributors, as well as the consumers. I'm Anima Joy. I'm a professor of marketing and the Faculty of Management here at UBCO.
I'm Russ Belk, and I'm the Kraft Foods Canada Chair in Marketing at York University in Toronto.
Russell Belk is an expert in consumer behavior and marketing. So I try to work with him a lot in order to sort of gain that kind of expertise as well. My own expertise is in luxury fashion brands, and he was very interested in doing that in addition to his own work. And so I thought it would be a great collaboration.
Anima Joy is a longtime friend. We've done a little bit of research in the past, but now we have a Canadian government grant to research luxury in India. Luxury in China is a big thing. India, it's becoming a big thing, but we want to know more about it.
I study with Russell, he's my supervisor. And at the same time, we're all interested in the digital culture, we're interested in the global consumer culture. And so we try to start this project with the Canadian and also North American context, but at the same time, we want to expand this to, let's say, the Asian context or maybe Latin American context.
Eric Lee is my former doctoral student. He in fact started with me at University of Utah and moved with me to Canada 7 years ago now. And now he's here as a faculty member.
But the students are really interested into this kind of culture thing because they're part of this group and they love sharing. They always talking about like, okay, what's the future of the mobile devices can do, because nowadays you can see they don't necessarily using their laptop, but they're using the mobile phone, the smartphone, and also, let's say, the portable devices with that.
To put it very simply, they have cultural expertise and knowledge that I don't. And so Eric came from Hong Kong, and we've done some research on the Chinese community in Toronto, and he had both language skills and cultural knowledge to be able to do that much better than I could. In the case of Anima, she comes from India originally and is going to have that as an advantage in doing the research in India. Beyond that, they have expertise in areas that they bring to the research. So all of these projects are sort of finding the overlap between our research interests. And so I work with a lot of different people in a lot of different places on a lot of different projects. And they're happy marriages. We're just finding what works for both of us.
Be the person.
Be the person
Be the person.
Who helps their friends understand sexual consent. Consent is not only words, but actions as well.
Who knows how to help a friend who's been a victim of sexual assault by providing medical and emotional support.
Who stands up to rape culture and avoids using offensive, sexually inappropriate language.
Be the person.
Be the person.
Be the person.
Be that voice. Be the voice of Sarah.
Rosemary Jean Thompson, and welcome to UBC's Next Big Thing. You know, UBC gets in the news a lot, and we wanted to highlight some of, well, the news highlights from this year. So with me, I have Paul Mark. He is the Manager of Media Relations. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Rosemary. It's a delight.
Well, and you're always talking about news and the things that are exciting that are going on campus. So I thought it'd be really neat to invite you here and tell us what made the news from UBC this year.
Well, we had a lot of news this year. I think overall we had nearly 1,000 stories out in the media, both in print, radio, and on TV as well.
Well, Paul, how important is it that we do understand the impact that the university has on our community and beyond?
Oh, I think it's terrifically important because here we are, an institution, a post-secondary institution, and a lot of our people, our top scholars and academics, are working here in classrooms and in labs, and they often don't see the broader impact of the work that they're doing, what it has on the community in the Okanagan Valley and in the larger community across Canada and internationally. Starting at number 10, Justin Trudeau appeared on campus last year. He was speaking to the students, packed house. There were quite a few stories, broadcast, radio, and print stories came from that.
That's number 10?
That's number 10. Number 9 is something of an unfortunate story. It involved a student death that occurred here a couple of years ago. The story gained prominence because there was a class action suit against the drug manufacturer for this. in 8th spot with the Plant Intelligence Project. And this was a multifaceted, interdisciplinary project. And here we had a poet talking about her work and mixing it in with some of the scientific work that's done in plant biology. And stories followed in both Maclean's magazine and in the New Yorker magazine.
Wow.
In 7th spot, the Superman story. Christine Schreier is an anthropologist and a linguist, and she wrote the Kryptonian language for Man of Steel. If you see the movie, you can see inscriptions on the spaceships, on the weaponry, all her doing. So she basically created an invented language.
And number 6.
Number 6 was a case of cyberbullying where our sociologist Chris Schneider was talking about Rebecca Marino, who's a star Canadian tennis player who quit the game due to cyberbullying.
Really?
Yes. Chris was talking to a variety of media, both in print and broadcast, about the effects that exposure in social media can have on people.
Number 5.
Number 5. Chris Hadfield came here as a distinguished speaker, part of the Distinguished Speaker Series at UBC, and he held an audience, a sellout audience, at the Kelowna Community Theatre, enthralled for a couple of hours.
It was so popular, we had to end up actually live streaming it to an audience here on campus as well. That's how popular that was.
That's right. Number 4 was the death of TV star Corey Monteith, and there was an outpouring of grief. Chris Schneider, again, talked about how something like this represents a teaching moment for parents with their children, talking about how to respond appropriately online and how they can deal with something like this. If I can go on to the number 3 story, this was the result of findings released by Sanjay Ghosh, who's a scientist in the Irving K. Barber School. He was talking about the benefits of fish oil. He determined that the benefits, the health benefits from this are vastly overrated.
Really?
Yes. And this came as a complete surprise to the larger community, and we had national media responding to this as well as international media. In number 2 spot was our premier campus event of the year, Celebrate Research Week. We had the Behavioral Research Lab at the Faculty of Management drew a lot of interest from media, as well as on-campus and off-campus events of our scholars out there talking about their research. So it was a really, really well-covered event for the media.
And that's an annual event.
Annual event.
Always interesting to find out what's going on in research on campus.
The number 1 story is actually a compilation of stories about transit issues, whether it be about the buses, whether it be about parking, whether it be about bike routes. I think it's evidence that this campus is growing, and the infrastructure supporting it has not grown from the time we were 3,500 students and now we're 8,300 students. Students had a lot to say about this. Faculty members had a lot to say about this as well.
Thank you for coming today and filling us in on some of these stories, and I know you'll be sending media releases out left and right, and it's always good to know that UBC can make some good news.
Absolute delight to be here, Rosemary. Thank you.
And that wraps it up for this edition of UBC's Next Big Thing. Until next time, I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. Have a great day.
That's it for this week's UBC From Here. For more stories from the Okanagan campus, visit ubco.tv. I'm Carly, and thanks for watching.